elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to An Elegant Weapon, episode 368. My name is JJ M. Clark, J the Jedi, Ross Jedi J. And as always, it is so wonderful to have all you beautiful babies back here with us in the Smoking Pod studio atop beautiful Hamilton Mountain in Ontario, Canada. It's been a fun party week. It's been a Source Point press party. I'd like to thank Ben Goldsmith, Garrett Gunn, and Casey Pierce herself for hanging out for the party. We had a lot of good times catching up. Heavy hitters week here on Source Point Press. We're ending the week off. Oh, and Travis is still good. We've been giving reports and everything's still well with Travis.
I was going to say, is he like, he had like crazy stuff going on there. So
yeah, it's crazy. If you see the map, like he was spared by like yards. His house was spared from some travesty. It was absolutely insane. But everything is good. And he's going to come back on real soon. He has promised because he was gonna, and then he didn't. So he's gonna.
Well, a 9-foot flash flood is a good reason not to show up, I suppose.
Absolutely. He was a little busy. I texted him like an hour before and I was like, can you come? He's like, oh no, I'm unable. And then he explained why. And I thought it was good.
Yeah. I talked to him that afternoon. A little bit earlier,
Okay. I got to do a quick awkward moment here of the show where I expand my Facebook page and I can still hear myself. I don't ever know why, but it's kind of weird. Hey, Drina Joe, how are you doing? Well, hold on. Let me get to this. It's been a fun week. We've had everybody. We're ending it off with a big return. A long time friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen, he speaks again, Mr. Dirk Manning.
With my fresh quarantine do, which may or may not look a lot like my normal do, but I just promise you, it's like a lot shorter in the back. So
that's what I was about to say. It looks a little tighter on the sides there, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
It's good to keep your fade tight. You know what I mean?
Well, it was one of those things where I've been trying to be very, very careful during all the, the stay-at-home orders and things like that. And my hair was getting like really, really long. So when I had the opportunity to get my hair cut, I talked to the person that does my hair and I said, I want to be the first one when you're out of quarantine, in and out, face mask, everything like that. And I said, just clipper it, because that way if we have to go another 3 months, I'll
right.
maintain.
Absolutely.
So it's like my Armageddon cut.
Start off fresh because you're going to have that fucking Rick beard soon enough, right?
I had it a couple times during quarantine. It was like I wanted to see like how far it could go, or stay at home. I guess I don't want to say quarantine, but during stay at home, I had it going a few times. I'm not gonna lie. So
nice. Okay, Dirk, you're back.
I am.
The world can hear your voice. I've known you a long time, Dirk Manning.
How years?
6 years? If you call it, 6 years, but it feels like a lot longer.
It's been a lifetime. It's been a lifetime in a lot of ways.
It's been a long time.
Long time.
It's been quite an adventure. 2020 for me was going to be a grand adventure. I did 2019 off and I had all these cons planned. It was going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah.
And then a lot of stuff happened. You had a very, very interesting and excitingly controversial beginning to your year.
Yeah.
A lot of things played out. A lot of things were said. A lot of stories. A lot of this. A lot of that. Things went crazy. I don't want to get into it. I've been into it. I've discussed it. I've listened to it. I have formed my own opinions on the subject. And I, as your longtime friend and someone with this platform, thinks at the very, very least, you should get to say your kind of final piece. And, and then we can fucking talk some comic books and shit because, as much as I love you and I know what I know and I have my own opinions and I formed my own judgment, I just think it's fair. I'm not just going to ignore the elephant in the room. And I
Right.
can't do that because every time you've been on here, we've had an honest conversation, and the
Yeah.
show is
Yeah.
about honest conversation. But without getting into it, I want to give you your chance to kind of say your piece before we move on with things.
Yeah. February was the best of times and the worst of times. I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but I had a development deal for one of my books announced in February. But around that time, a lot of things were said about me online. Very quick, very sudden, very, I don't want to say orchestrated, but it was orchestrated. And a lot of the things that said were true, but a lot weren't. And what is true is that, it became very evident to me, whether intentionally or not, that I had hurt some people. Not physically, but I had hurt some people's. Yeah. Let me be clear. But I had hurt some people's feelings, and there was some talk and some kibitzing about that, and people decided to take their grievances public. Okay, but I was and remain genuinely really sorry, about that, for what happened. I know sorry is a very easy word to say, and I know there's going to be people that, due to their level of anger or hurt, their own hurt, are may never believe that, but it's true. A lot of people were very, I'd hurt their feelings. And that, and that sucks. I've built a career out of trying to help people. I mean, whether it be through the right or wrong columns, doing panels at conventions, just being a supportive person and trying to help people. So when this thing happened, and when I found out about this kind of orchestrated movement or whatever to do this stuff, it really caught me off guard. And I decided to sit back and shut up and just hear what people had to say, and a lot of people like I think a lot of people, were very confused what was going on. I think I was confused what was going on, but I tried to sit back. I tried to listen and apologize and just keep my mouth shut and just hear what people had to say. But again, what was, there was stuff that was said that was true, but there was so much stuff that was not true. And then there was so much stuff that was blown out of proportion. And I think a lot of people, I think my silence was misinterpreted. And I think that's my own fault as well. I can own that. But what ended up happening was things got really blown out of proportion. And I don't want to get into the details on this stuff. This was months ago now. And not that there's a statute on people's hurt feelings,
Of course.
But yeah. I want to give an example. Like, something happened was a talent agency that I'd worked with, Level Up Entertainment, issued a press release saying, we're not going to work with Dirk Manning. We're not working with Dirk anymore. We're not connected with him. And all these people that were just dogpiling the situation, like, yeah, well, Dirk Manning, he got thrown out of conventions, and this talent agency dropped him, and this is the end of Dirk Manning at conventions, and blah, 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 which I don't know why anyone would really want to celebrate that, but okay. People were mad, I guess. So that did happen. Here is the full scenario. I do like 25, 30 shows a year. I've done that for...
Is that all?
Yeah, right. I do a lot of shows. And let's say that in the past 6 years, I've maybe done conservatively 100 shows.
All right.
That's pretty conservative. How many do you think Level Up booked for me? Take a guess, out of 100.
No idea. Right.
One.
Right.
One show ever. And it just was because I book my own shows. I'm a
Sure.
self-made person.
Sure.
But
sure.
it was this situation then where I see like, yeah, Level Up dropped them, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, part of me wanted to say, okay, but they only booked me for one show ever. And I got a really nice email from them saying, hey, when we've been on the road with you, whether we booked you or not, we see how you are and stuff, but we're just gonna end this. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, for the one show you ever booked me for, okay.
Well, yeah, that's not really the point. But, I get what you're saying, but I will say that knowing you how I do, I know how difficult it must have been to keep your mouth shut, let people have their say.
Yeah.
And that was the right thing to do. Right or wrong, whatever was true, whatever wasn't, don't compound the issue.
Right.
If people have things to say, it's they have every right to say and to express. And
I would say to an extent, but I was willing just to let it ride.
Well, you're going to get to a point where, you just can't pay attention to certain things. But other than that, whatever truths you're talking about that did come out of this, I know that it caused you to reflect. And you took a lot of time that was very difficult. And I know it was a difficult time for you.
God,
and I know that I learned a lot. Fact. And that's what I want to hear. You know what I mean? And you're right. I was confused. I've learned a lot since. So I'm not nearly as confused as I was. I've learned quite a bit, but it was, of course, it was a confusing time, right? You don't know what to do. And, but a lot of things have been sorted for me. So that's why you're here, because things have been sorted for me. And I'm proud of you for taking that time, letting people have their say and learning something from the situation, whether true, whether false, doesn't matter. So these things happen. You have to self-reflect. You can't just be ignorant enough to think, okay, somebody's feelings are hurt, I can't not reflect on what I've done. Right.
Well, right. Yeah. And I want to say too, because it's been months and I've not publicly really spoken about this, and we're live, I did learn a lot, this is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but I just need to be honest. I learned how people see me. And I really had to take some time to reflect on how people see the Dirk Manning persona versus the fact that behind the persona, there is a person,
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things where, in a way, it made me look back and realize, my God, I have almost 20 years in the game,
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot. I've grown up in public as a creator, and a lot of people have grown up with me, and a lot of people have taken my journey with me. And I think there's times when I let other people maybe control my narrative too much. I think there's times when I let the narrative control me too much. And
and that's an easy thing to let happen,
It is, and again, it's not that, but it's one of those things where it causes you to step back and reflect and realize, hey, is the tail wagging the dog, or is the dog wagging the tail here?
Right.
And I'm just going to be transparent. I really learned a lot about my friends group and how people value friendship.
Right.
I'm not going to do this, but if I were to make a list of like the people in my peer group and people who I've considered my friends, who reached out versus who didn't, who kind of kicked dirt on me and who didn't, it was pretty, it was pretty enlightening.
Right.
I think a lot of people wanted answers. There was a couple of people who I am especially close to that I reached out to. Some to this day haven't gotten back to me.
Right.
And it's like, wow, I guess I'm the type of guy that I'll go to war for somebody. Or if I got a problem, it's like, hey, let's iron this out.
Right. But again, we talked about this the other day, and sometimes it's a case of people needing even more time than you could expect to sort their shit out.
Absolutely.
And sometimes people just don't know the whole situation.
Right.
And you know, I'm a firm believer in putting yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, whether good, whether for bad, you have to think of if you're going to truly, you know, try to be a selfless person, you have to think of the others first, and you may have to eat some shit once in a while.
Oh, brother.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I had to eat shit till I learned to like the taste.
Right.
But I will say, with full transparency, it hurt. And sometimes it still hurts. And then some people who had very easy and direct access to me kind of like jumping in on this a little bit. And I'm like, really? I'm like, you have my phone number, you know, you've slept at my house, you've eaten at my table, you in the same amount of time it takes to publicly comment on this, you could have just sent me a message or gave me a phone call or something. But again, it's just one of those things you just learn about and how people respond to things.
Right.
And some people involved, as when we talked and some perspective was gained on things. One of my oldest friends, actually, that kind of didn't directly, but kind of dogpiled a little bit. He actually said, he goes, I'll be honest with you, Dirk. He goes, I've been involved with situations before where it blew back on me professionally. And I'll never forget this. He goes, what I did was cravenly and cowardly because I was scared of how this would impact my career.
Right.
And he said, I am sorry. He goes, I was a coward and I'm sorry. And that's when, again, I started to see how people see me and how people start to see this stuff. And there was a part of me that wanted me to say to this guy who kind of broke down and his voice cracked, you know, he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I was a coward. I'm sorry. And part of me wanted to say, then why don't you, pardon my French, like, why don't you fucking go out there and say it online then? You just fucking,
right.
You know, kind of bagged me subtly, but you bagged me online. How about you come out online and should your apology be to the same level as your disrespect? But that's not me. You know, that's not who I am. And we made amends and we made right. And he told me,
that's good. That's good.
And he said, he goes, look, man, he goes, and this is someone I've known a long, long time. And he said, I recognized because of what I did, things may never be the same between us. And I said, brother, you apologized. And again, that's not to absolve me from making mistakes or handling things in a way that I shouldn't have handled them. But at the end of the day,
hey man, you were at a point where beyond him apologizing, you were probably fucking happy he was acknowledging you at the time. Right? Like
that too.
You know, so listen, I don't want to get too into all of this. No. And although I do really, really, really appreciate you, you know, talking about it. Yeah. And I know it's hard and I know you got to eat some shit. And like you said, some stuff, you know, not true, some stuff true, makes you reflect. Either way, what I have seen in talking to you, and you have done something, and I know how difficult it is for you to do this.
Oh no, what?
You have, I think you've gained strength by trying to be a little bit more vulnerable at times. And, you know, there was a time where just recently, a few minutes ago, you were talking about, you know, the Dirk persona and what lies behind it. There was a time when you were so quite wrapped up in this that would have never come out of your mouth. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even have wanted, like, it would have felt weird for you to even talk about it then as well.
I was on third person. Yeah. Well, you know, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too. I had a couple very dear friends that helped me handle this in the way I did. And Jay, I was like a junkyard dog on a chain, man. I wanted to go and swing, and I want to say, here's my receipts, here's my evidence. When people are telling blatant bullshit lies, just absolute garbage lies. I walked off a book from Dirk Manning. No, you didn't. Here's the email exchange, or this thing happened. No, it didn't. And I was showing like this tribunal of people who I'm not going to name, the evidence to this stuff. you know, because I mean, in a way, my career was on the line, you know, in some ways.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was
because-
questioning it. I was fully questioning it. I was like,
Sure,
this is
sure.
getting crazy and, you know,
It was
heavy
getting, and it was, and
Yeah.
luckily I had evidence to demonstrate what's true and what's not.
But you're right. Those people were there for you, and that's the important thing.
Right.
And like I
It's,
said, I've seen what you grow. So there you go, Dirk. I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying your piece. It's in your
Yeah.
court now. You have you have returned to the world.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say
and
this last
thanks
thing. and
for
then we're
doing
gonna,
it through an elegant weapon. But
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm going to say this last thing, that point I was going to make, and we'll move on, because there is so much better stuff to talk about moving forward. But to your point about that growth, I've grown a lot through it. I've learned a lot through this, you know, and it's funny because Right or Wrong 2 is supposed to come out this year. And now I found so much more stuff to talk about handling yourself professionally when these things happen. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. A friend of mine said to me that, you know, sometimes you become an object rather than a person when you only focus on your work for so long.
Right.
And I was a victim of that. I'm a guy, you know, we talked 100 times, you know, and I'm always about to work. And I'm very private. I'm very private. I'm a writer. And as much as I put myself out there on the road and in interviews, when we're done, you've seen me off hours.
Oh, I have. Yeah.
But I'm very thankful to Source Point for helping me through this, and for the people that have helped me through it. I've learned a lot. I'm going to be operating a lot differently moving forward. And I appreciate the people that took the time to think critically about a lot of stuff, I guess, at the end of the day. But again, man, like you said, we have so much
check
good
this
stuff to
segue
talk
out.
about.
Check this fucking segue out. You ready for this shit?
Yeah. What we got?
You, like me, were ready for a big year of Comic-Cons. When all the shit we just talked about hit.
Yep.
And then something very, very shortly after hit. And that was this fucking quarantine. So and I have been talking, and I think I talked with every source pointer this week. We talked a little bit about the quarantine.
Yep.
And how I think a lot of us didn't realize how good for us a break would be. And a recharge and the pressure off of the as much as we love it and miss it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we needed to get away, but I think this forced break is actually going to do a lot better in the long run, as far as, you know, sustaining the love of it kind of thing for us, at least, you know, for us who live the con life. So other than, you know, having taken the time and dealt with everything we just talked about, how has your quarantine been? Have you just dove into writing? How have you taken advantage or not taken advantage of the time?
I think I went through those 7 stages of grief on it a little bit.
Right.
Because, you know, my convention circuit started with Astronomicon 3 when we announced, which again, I know we'll get to it, but when we announced the television deal for Haunted Highlands. So, man, my year, this was going to be I was going to have 3 Kickstarters this year, C2E2, all this stuff. Then the unpleasantness happened. And then my grandfather, and again, this is stuff I normally would never talk about, but it's relevant to your question. My my grandfather, who helped raise me, went into hospice. Right. And he was in Florida with my grandma and my grandpa are snowbirds. So they went to Florida and he entered hospice right before, he had to go into hospice services right before C2E2. And talk about learning and growth. I was torn on whether to go to C2E2 or to go to Florida to help my grandma get my grandpa situated to get him home.
Right. Well, you did the right thing.
But I'll tell, brother, I'm just going to be straight with you. I'm going to be straight with everybody listening. I was so wrapped up by all that bullshit going on that I wanted to be out there and I wanted to be able to talk to people about it. And I was so wrapped up in my work that I almost went to C2E2.
Oh, that wouldn't have been a good idea.
No. Well, and it would have been a good idea because my grandpa helped raise me, man. That is like that.
Of
No
course.
offense to my dad, but that's my grandpa's my dude.
Yeah.
And so I went to Florida and I helped get my grandma situated to get him back home because he obviously really,
Right.
he's
Right.
in hospice and he was out of state and all this. I mean, the stuff that you don't even think about. And I remember talking to Travis about it, and Travis is like, Dirk, go with your fucking family, man, go.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all this shit's going on and it's going to look like I'm running. And I'm like, and he had to kind of grab me and shake me. And he's like,
This
Travis
doesn't
has met
matter.
Travis
Yeah.
has met my grandpa.
None of
my
this shit matters. Yeah.
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 But again, talking about this break and having to kind of break away from off for a bit.
Right.
And
Right.
again, then there's other people chirping, oh, this is Dirk Manning is hiding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I was ready to go to war again.
Right.
But I would have been sacrificing my my time with my
Oh,
grandpa.
yeah, of course.
So you talk about this break, not having done a show since February, and God, I hated missing C2E2. C2E2 is pound for pound my favorite show, my favorite big show, my favorite
Right.
big show. I love
Right.
C2E2.
It was
But,
weird because that was when the fist pounding and stuff was just starting. Like that was our biggest concern at C2E2 is most of the artists wouldn't shake your hand. That was
Right.
the weirdest thing about the world at that
Right, people are doing the elbows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the meantime, it's like I'm taking pictures of myself with palm trees just if push came to shove. Like, look, I am in Florida, right? Like Travis said, like, what are you gonna do? Take a picture with a dying old man? He goes, get a grip. And once I got down there and I spent time with my grandma and my grandpa and I got them situated, it started to dawn on me, and I'm like, the hell is wrong with me, man?
Right. Yeah.
I am so wrapped up in, I'm a workaholic anyway, such a workaholic. So this break has been very needed for my mental health. I mean, just in reprioritizing and refocusing and recentering and realigning yourself.
Absolutely.
I've been doing a ton of writing, all of Haunted Highlands Volume 2 is written.
Excellent.
I've been doing a ton of work on the pitch stuff for the potential television series. I've been working on Hope Volume 2 stuff. I've been realigning Right or Wrong Volume 2. I signed a huge contract for a project that I can't really talk about publicly yet, but what may very well become maybe the biggest project I've ever done in regards to, like, I'd use the word status, but status.
Sure.
Twisted's a really big deal. This might even be this is on the level of like working with Twisted.
That's exciting, man.
So it's been, and most importantly, my grandpa goes into hospice. What's C2E2 the end of February. Perfect. We get him home, we get him situated, and my grandpa's just tough as a $2 steak, man. I mean, this is a guy that one time dropped a car on his hand and then lifted it up and pulled his hand out.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there, right? He put aloe heel in his hand, wrapped in duct tape, and kept working in front of me. He's just old school tough, World War II boxer tough,
Right. Old man Europe strength, right?
Just crazy. And he used to snap 2x4. When we were working together one time, I remember him snapping 2x4s and just throwing them in a dumpster, just crack over his knee, crack. And I'm like, I'm in martial art, I'm like, like, wait, those are treated. Those are treated.
That's nuts, man. Yeah.
But he's still with me right now, and his hospice nurses and every nurse that's worked with him said that he has broken every rule there is about dying. And I'm spending a lot of time with him. I go see him, he can't really eat much at this point. I take him milkshakes every time I go see him.
Well, it's nice you're allowed to go see him. A lot of people haven't been able to even.
Yeah, luckily
there,
we were able to get him in a facility that in 1 or 2 people at a time we can go visit with him. So I get to go visit with him a couple times a week, take my grandpa milkshakes, hang out, write, recenter myself after everything that happened, reprioritize my life. professionally, and just like I said, the break's been very, very good for my mental health, and I miss it. I mean, you probably can't. Well, you can't probably see like all these boxes back here, and like off camera, I have all
See
these
plenty.
boxes.
In fact, Jason Ward really likes that Godzilla behind your head there.
Oh, right on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the spinner rack that one day I will fill with all my own comics. It's getting close. But yeah, I have like a ton of stock. Like I stocked up for like the first half of the year.
Right.
Which then in turn, having stock, not selling the stock, I got to sell that stuff to release the new stuff. So that's pushed back my publishing schedule and everything else. But
I may have a bunch of your shit because just before this happened, I was gearing up for Calgary and Toronto Comic Con.
Yeah.
So I got a fresh shipment of Source Point goodies. I've got like 3 double diamond long boxes or 3 double diamond boxes.
Right.
That I haven't even cracked because I was like, why crack them? Like all the shows are gone, right? And they're easier to store if they're already nicely, taped up and in the boxes. But I think I might do a little unboxing soon now that things are starting to slowly get back to normal here, and maybe help a few people get some Source Point in their hands. But I may have a few of your words in there,
Maybe some hope,
perhaps.
Maybe some haunted ions from Source Point.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, the time has been good and you're going to treasure this time with your pops, man. Like,
and I don't want to cry, but yeah, absolutely. It's been good. And even it's funny because when this started and we got him home and he's an old farmer. So we got him home for a minute and then we got him put in the hospice facility. Even though when I was setting up my schedule, I'm like, okay, I do a lot of conventions, so I'll go these days and these days to go see him, because my family's pretty tight knit, and no one's gonna ride alone, So it's like,
right,
we all have different days we go visit them, but even then, I was initially building my visitation days around conventions, and it's embarrassing to say now that like that's how I was thinking, like, okay, I can't go see him on weekends because I'm gonna be on the road. And mind you, man, that's what Grandpa would want. When I write Right or Wrong Volume 2, and it's been like this since before this happened, Right or Wrong 2 is going to be modeled a lot around what my grandpa taught me. So everyone who reads Right or Wrong 2 is going to learn a lot about this guy. And I know he would rather me be out there making money and working and stuff like that and building my brand out. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's like, being there and holding his hand and bringing him milkshakes. That's
care a bit for him.
That's what's important. That's what's important. And it just took this break, that hard stop, to get there and reevaluate. Am I looking forward to getting back on the road? Hell yes.
So I was going to ask you, like, where's your head at as far as, okay, Source Point, Travis McIntyre and the clan, grinders, Source Point, as great as it is to every place that it's gotten and the level it is now and the size that it is now, it started off the grind. It's always existed on the grind. Creators putting their books in people's hands.
Hand selling, right.
And direct sales right to your fucking face.
Yeah.
In your face. Or
half a face.
That went away. Nice. That, like many other things, went away. It's gone. So what do? And you take some shots. And if you're Source Point Press, you take some risks. You move some money that was going to be used for this and maybe try that. And some things were tried and some things worked out pretty darn good. And I think the secret of it all was somehow everybody was able to carry that family con life atmosphere onto the internet, whether it be through Facebook and the Source Point auctions and Josh's beautiful face, or, whatever, through all these, there's so many, everybody's interviewing everybody now, everybody's on the Zoom kick, everybody's, got shows and stuff.
Right.
And, it's great. It's fun. It made me kind of weird in the beginning. I was like, why is everybody doing what I do all of a sudden?
Right.
But then I realized, like, after a couple weeks, I was kind of like, you know what? They're not. It's all kind of, and I don't mean any disrespect for this. This is how it works in journalism. and it's a lot of the same types of questions and the same lines of questioning.
Right.
And you know this, the show's always been a fucking bullshit, talk them up good time, right? And
Right.
I don't prepare a goddamn thing before we get on this show.
No.
And that's what I realized was missing. I was like, okay, now it's time to get back on there. Now it's time to get myself a Zoom account and see what I can add to the conversation. So that's kind of what I got into. And I had to adjust the way I did things, and SourcePoint adjusted, and SourcePoint, even things have worked out so well. I know if we even once we get over this, they're going to continue a lot of the new practices. And so where are you trying to kind of evolve? You thinking up some new practices, or are you just kind of hunkering down and waiting to get back to the grind that you know so well?
It's been interesting because, again, I'm really moving forward rather than looking back. But I took some time to kind of really reflect on things and kind of get my head straight on stuff. And I went to Travis and I said, look, man, I want to do one of the live auctions. And he's like, okay, all right. I mean, I bring a certain je ne sais quoi to what I do.
You sure do.
And it's funny because, working with, and again, talking about this family, this hustle, when Twisted found out I was doing a live auction, they got a hold of me and they said, hey, you're doing these live auctions? They're like, yeah. And they were pissed, like, why didn't you tell us we could help you out? And I'm like, you guys are busy too. We're all, and they said, no. So like Jamie Madrox did a sketch. Twisted, Magic Ninja, those guys they're part of the family, and they really, they talk about family.
Even Jamie and Paul aren't busy right now.
Right. They released a surprise album, but again,
shit, really?
Yeah, they dropped a surprise album on 420 called Bad Season, which is incredible. And they did the album in quarantine and shot like the video in their own homes and spliced them together and all that.
That's cool. I got to catch up on that.
These guys, in the middle of getting ready to release a surprise album, found out that I was going to go on the SourcePoint auction and were pissed I didn't tell them sooner. And Jamie did a sketch cover and gave it to me to put on the live auction, and they donated some stuff. So yeah, I went on the live auction, and I'm just saying, and I'm saying this is like a challenge to my peers. We doubled the highest amount ever raised on a SourcePoint live auction when I went on there. And it was fun, it was cool. So then of course that makes me think as a person, what can I do? Maybe I should start. And I've really decided I'm doing some mail order stuff for people here and there, but I have not yet done any online, advertised online sales, really. I just kind of let people know, hey, if I'm not going to see you and you want some books, email me, message me, and I'll hook you. We'll make it happen. But I've more been in the hunker down mode, and really just looking at this fall, kind of rising out of the depths like Godzilla,
You got the hopes, do you?
And just coming out hard, coming out swinging again.
Is New York still on potentially, or have they canceled yet?
New York's still on for the moment. I know.
On the line, man.
Okay,
here, let me get your account then, because I've gotten most people's accounts that I've talked to. And the confusing thing about the States is there's no reliable data or information from any direction that I can see. So how is Ohio? How is what are the numbers? What are the rates? How are we doing? Are we feeling safe? Is there a curve flattened? Do you even know? Do you even trust your own numbers?
You look at Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and all that. This whole area, which is kind of like prime Dirk Manning stomping ground, it's tough because I don't want to get all political and tinfoil hat-y about it, but I'm just staying inside, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'll go on a shopping trip once every 2 weeks, and I'm playing Human Pac-Man. I got my mask on and stuff, which again isn't really a stretch for me to have the mask. I get to live the gimmick,
Right.
And I'll be I got my list, and half hour tops, I'm in and out of the grocery store, and I'll be going down an aisle. If I see a person, I'm like, buck, 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 and just go around. I'm like, man, I don't even go down an aisle. Someone's there. I'm like, out. So I kept thinking, and then Seattle, got pushed to August. I'm like, okay, we'll probably be able to do it in August. Now it's like,
Yeah.
so now
I-
we're looking at like, is New York Comic Con going to be the return to form? You know, Grand Rapids Comic Con up in
Yeah.
November. Great
I don't-
show.
I don't think Fan Expo has officially canceled in September yet, but
Yeah.
we're not banking on it. You know,
C4 is Halloween weekend now in Traverse City up in, up in northern Michigan.
Right. Yeah. It's well, Philly's supposed to be in September, but here's the thing, dude. Canada is freaked the fuck out right now. And because we got on things, our governments came together. They came out with a plan, conservatives
Right.
and liberals. Like, we're all shocked. Like, Doug Ford, Rob Ford's brother, he's
Yeah.
the premier of my province, Ontario, right? And he's conservative as hell, and he was having a big fight with the teachers and didn't want to pay them, all that conservative nonsense, you know. And man, did he step up during this thing. He was comforting, he was knowledgeable, he was it was incredible. Like, people can't even believe it, right? Like, he'll probably step to the federal level now. And, you know, everybody, you know, not everybody loves Trudeau, but they came out, they had a plan, and they set the whole country up for 4 months. They were like, hey, we know you're all going to get laid off. Everybody's going to hunker down. $2,000 a month for 4 months. That's what you all get. Not everybody, just the people affected by it, right? Because, like, I'm an essential worker. I kept working, so I didn't get nothing. But everybody in Canada was able to kind of say, okay, 4 months. That's our fucking window. We can all hunker down for that. We had a time frame. We had
Right.
a plan, right? And we
Right.
didn't have to worry. Like, businesses, it was going to be hard. People will probably go bankrupt. It will happen, but
Yeah.
not as nearly as bad as it could have been. So there we go. Where I think you guys, like, there was never a plan. There's no cohesiveness. So we closed the borders, and I guarantee you that's going to be the very, very last thing that Canada does to open up. And I promise you that's going to be the last thing. I may potentially not be at an American show for the next year and a half, 2 years. It could potentially, like, depending on your guys' second wave, or if that happens, it may not. I really hope it doesn't. But I don't, that's the uncertainty of this whole situation, eh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, I'm anxious to get back on the road. I'm anxious to start getting back to work in that regard. But safety first, you know, like I said, I mean, my grandpa's hanging on,
Right.
you know, I mean, I don't want to endanger that. I don't want to speed it up, you know, speed up what he's got going on to a natural degree, but it's going to be interesting, you know. And a lot of people are just talking about taking 2020 off. But again, to me, supporting conventions is also important to me.
Absolutely.
Supporting the C4s. And as funny as this may sound, supporting the New York Comic Con. Obviously, I have a different ripple
But you
effect.
also want to support a good decision, and I'm sorry, but any Comic-Con in the next 6 to 8 months is probably not a good decision, right?
Right. And that's it. And it's tricky because, again, I have a different ripple at a C4 or a Grand Rapids than I would like at a New York or an Emerald City.
Right.
But I mean, and again, man, I mean, I put butts in seats and I show up and I promote and I work and I'm an
But I mean,
asset
you
to
being the
cons.
personality that you are could really build something cool online that you haven't before in these situations. That's got to be an exciting prospect too.
And
is
but
it
that's
not?
see, and
Like
that's
the auction. How did you enjoy the auction?
I loved it.
Yourself. Yeah.
Loved it. My grandpa was an auctioneer. So
No way. Really?
he did. He was a farmer and he did used to auction. So to me, I was like,
great.
when I got there, I told Josh, you know, I'm like, man, look, I said, we're gonna blow this up. Get ready, and we did. But the thing is, and this is what I was talking about how I bring a certain wavering amount of value to a convention. What does that do to my relationship to conventions if I start going into business for myself?
Well, yeah, but your health is the most important business.
Right. No, you're right. Which is why I've been sitting on my hands on this. I know a lot of people are doing like live sales every week and blah, blah, blah. This Sunday, I'm doing GarageCon with partnership with Nexus 419 and with C4.
Yeah.
all right, I'll probably sell some stuff on there. I'll do stuff for the live auction. I will donate stuff out of my library to support SourcePoint because they're a phenomenal publisher. They've done a lot to support me. Cool. If this goes on past a lot longer, like I said, my plan right now is still in the fall to return to form and I guess in a new form in a way, but
Right.
you know, meet the new Dirk, same as the old Dirk, different haircut. No, but you know, no, that'll be the line someone will use against me now. No, but I guess I'm just taking the time to sit back and decide what that's going to look like. I mean, let's be honest. I was supposed to run 3 Kickstarters this year.
Right.
I've run none.
Yeah,
And it's
gotta
not
feel
because,
weird.
well, a lot of it, I do my own thing and I could do my own Kickstarter and do everything just fine, but people are hurting. And to me, it hasn't felt right. By the fall,
Yeah.
I'm going to be ready to go, man.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's it. Hibernation is over and we're going to start doing some stuff. But right now,
in your honor, I got myself an evil genius kitty.
oh, nice.
Yeah. So listen, I meant to tell you something earlier.
Yeah.
And I want to apologize to the folks out there. But it might have been this little fucker right here. This is
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So this is what happened is
We started about a half hour late.
Yeah, we started late and I apologize. And I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I still don't know what happened. But I've got right up here is a windowsill. And this is a new setup for me in this area.
I was gonna say, yeah, this looks really
I'm
nice.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it, right? Like that's just my drawing table behind me and some stuff.
Right.
And but you know, it's nice in the day, the sunlight comes through here and I get better lighting because I got screwed where you know how every webcam on the internet sold out, like any decent one. I'm stuck with my 10-year-old C170 Logitech, right? So I have to use low light because the light is just it's shit, right? So the cats have taken to being up on this windowsill, and I forgot about the fact that they got to get down. So they've been actually jumping onto my laptop, which is right here. And I'm not used to having to close it because it's not usually in a place that the cats bother with, right?
Right.
So and plus I caught one of them lying in, you know, cats like to lie in your keyboard because it's a warm spot, right?
Okay.
But I caught one of them earlier jumping off the windowsill onto the laptop. So I think that's what happened. I think they were jumping on my laptop and lying on my laptop and caused some settings to go off. And I still don't know which ones. Like Magic Cat.
Yeah, because like we were trying to talk and like the speaker wasn't working.
My computer was not reading any of my speakers, so I didn't understand it. So what I did was I literally had to Sam Noir. Sup, buddy?
I know I just went to go look at the comments here as who's going.
Yeah, it's there's lots of good comments. Thanks for hanging out, kids. What was I just saying though?
The cat, the pesky cat.
Oh yeah, so I actually literally did like a system restore to earlier in the day. Like I had to go that far to get it back to the settings it was at. So I did that and it pulled through. So thanks for sticking it out with us, kids. Greatly appreciate it. Dirk, what have you been enjoying? I know you're doing a lot of writing mostly and stuff, but you know, we all have so much time. You must have taken the time to be enjoying something, reading something, watching something. Something cool must have come along.
You know, oh, hold on. I put the volume on this. I have not been watching nearly as much TV and movies as I thought I would. Because, you know, again, I'm just writing and I've never been a big TV watcher anyway. Right. But I finally been taking some time to read some things I wanted to read. I've finally gotten into some Caitlin Kiernan writing, Houses Under the Sea, her mythos anthology. It's been really good. I finished the first season of What We Do in the Shadows. That was nice.
I watched like the first episode and I didn't get a chance to keep going, but I hear it's brilliant. Yes.
It's good. You know, I've heard the second season is even a lot better, but it was entertaining. So I finally watched first season of that. I've just not been watching a lot. I've mainly been reading and writing, man, you know, because to me, that's what I love doing more than anything is write, you know.
Sure,
So
sure,
and
sure.
read.
Are you staying
So
healthy? Are you eating well? Are you getting any exercise in? 'Cause a
I
lot of
have
people
a
are going one way or the other. A lot of people are going Jabba the Hutt, and a lot of people are going Salacious Crumb. So
yeah,
you
no,
know,
I have I don't know, you tell me. I mean, I've
you
been
look pretty good. You
I
look,
look all
but
right.
last time I saw you, you had slimmed down a bit. You'd been looking good like the last time or two that I saw you, right?
Yeah, I've been
Not
trying. I
not
I
30 pounds down good.
I know, Jesus criminy, dude. It's like I don't know. There's gonna be nothing left of you when I see you.
That's what my mom keeps saying. She gave me some shit because I went over there the other day and she was like, "Your too skinny," and I got the whole like,
Yeah, when I saw you
okay.
get
I
down
was
to
like, whatever.
155, I
Yeah,
was
man.
like, Jesus, like I could
Wait.
bench press you with one arm at this point. You know, it's like I'm afraid if I give you a hug when I see
That's
you,
the
I'm
first
gonna
thing
snap you.
Stan said. I texted Stan and or I think it might have been a comment on the thing when I said I'm down. Yeah, I'm down to 155er, and Stan Kanopka. He said all he said was, "I can bench press you."
Yeah, dude, bro, legit. I could bench press you with one arm. I could pick you up by your belt and just probably like lift you and like spin you. You
But
know,
I'm a tree climber. It's easy for me to get to that mode. I just haven't done it in a long time, and I was like,
right.
"Fuck, I'm bored. I'm gonna run, do this and that."
Yeah,
And,
see,
you know,
my thing has always been if you ever see me running, you better run too in the same direction, you know. but I do
right.
the elliptical. I do that.
I got a glider. The old. Do you know who Tony Little is?
Yeah,
Do you remember Tony Little with the
yeah,
blonde ponytail and the
yeah. The little
glider?
he was kind of like buff, like kind of
Yeah.
like meaty, and
Okay.
yeah,
I wasn't
the little
sure
baby
if he.
push.
I couldn't remember if he was just Canadian or not.
No,
But
no,
you
no.
remember,
You
okay?
can't just you can't totally steal Tony Little.
Okay, good. I found here in the basement, in the back, like basement, like furnace basement area, a fucking Tony Little Gazelle glider.
How is
Like
it?
the thing,
Mhm.
there's no resistance, so it takes like a half an hour for a drop of sweat.
Right.
If you want to burn off a quick 100 calories while you're watching a TV show, at least keep your body moving. It's not bad for that. It's low impact, and I have
Did
a
you say
bad back.
1600?
No, 60 to 100
Oh, I was gonna
calories.
say, I was like, how
Right?
fast are you running?
Yeah, no. But
Like,
it's
no wonder
cool.
you're down to 155, you prick.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I do the elliptical, and that's when I watch television, is on the elliptical.
Right. It's so easy when
know.
you're just watching shit, right?
But and like to me, and I've told a bunch of my buddies this to the point that they probably get annoyed with me, where I'm like, the key I found, because I started to get too heavy for a while. Being on the road, when I started doing 30 shows a year, eating on the road all the time, writing is sedentary, you're always sitting, you know, I just started slowly like blowing up a little bit and I was too heavy.
Right.
So I found like, I always lamented the fact that there's all these TV shows I never have time to watch. Because if I'm a story guy.
Right.
If I'm going to watch television, I'm going to watch it. One of the reasons I watch pro wrestling is I can have it on the background and kind of watch it when I'm writing or doing whatever. So I would I tell people, find a show you really want to watch, like on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, whatever, Amazon Prime, whatever you do. I said, but make it that you only can watch it on the elliptical or when you're working out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know, so like
Yeah.
that's how I did Sons of
That's your
Anarchy. That's how I
treat.
watched Doctor
Yeah,
Who.
yeah. Your treat for doing that. Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
and it's your motivation because like, oh, I want to see the next episode.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
So
proud of you for watching some Doctor Who, by the way.
I haven't watched I haven't seen the Jodie Whittaker stuff yet, but yeah, I'd never seen Doctor Who, and I finally watched all of it on the elliptical up to just Jodie Whittaker is not on any streaming service I have, but I don't know. I've been doing all right there. I mean, I'd like to think I'm staying fairly consistent. You know, you always have certain goals, you got plateaus you want to get down to, and then you kind of you sit at a certain plateau for a while. And then of course you gotta have like Fat Boy Fun Day. Like full disclosure, when I was waiting for us to go online, I was eating some cookie dough.
Oh, it's cheat day for me too, dude. I just gorged on stuffed
Yeah.
crazy bread and pizza and M&M
Yeah.
chocolate bar. Yeah, Friday's cheat day. Fuck it. It's Big
See,
Macs for the boy day. You know?
I call it
Yeah.
Fat Boy Fun Day.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
I also
That's funny.
don't-
Aaron at work with her like coworkers, they had
Yeah.
Fat Fuck Tuesday.
see, but I have always said, you know, you have to enjoy the ride. It's like if I want pizza, I'm getting pizza.
Yeah.
If I want ice cream, I'm going to go eat some ice cream.
Dude, calorie count, it doesn't matter what you eat, it matters how much of it you eat. That's all that
Exactly.
matters, man. That's why I can have a Big
Exactly.
Mac if I cannot eat anything for
Exactly. I mean, you got to
whatever
watch your
time.
cholesterol and all that stuff.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
how
yeah.
old are we, man? We're sitting here talking about cholesterol.
I know, crazy. So
Not
look,
okay.
this is what we have to do right now because I am so proud of you.
Oh, no. What?
Because this is just, it's the most you've ever been on this show. And I so appreciate it. And we have just spent pretty much just about an hour talking about things.
Oh.
And
I
none
know.
of them were your fucking comic books, man. Which
Yeah.
is a new thing for us. And I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with it because
Yeah.
you know, it's
You,
always good to-
and for those of you listening or watching, Jay and I have had this thing for 6 years now. And looking back, I've learned that you have been right to always bust my chops about when I get on, I'm laser focused, I'm talking about books, I'm talking about my work. And then you and I would like talk off the air for like 2 hours just bullshitting. You're like, why don't you do that on the show? I'm like, because I'm working, because I'm working, because I'm working.
Yes.
So,
well, this was a different situation because normally and happily you hit me up when you've got shit coming out, and I'm like, absolutely, let's fucking chat it up. But this was Source Point Press Week. This was of my making. And
Yeah.
I wanted it to be Heavy Hitters Week, and I wanted it to be Old Friends Week, and I wanted to give you that chance to come back to the world. And now your face is out there. You've said your piece. And
the last time
it's
it's going
all
to
up
come
to
up.
you. There you go.
Right.
So now we can get on with things. Do pay attention, kids, for Hope and Haunted Highons. I'll give you 1 minute here. Go back to old Dirk Styles and spew out everything that's happening quick. You got a minute. Go.
I got to get back. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm recharging.
Well, that's pretty much it, though, right? Right now is we're focused. You know.
Right. No. All right. Let me give some teasers because people have been listening to all this stuff. Haunted Highons Volume 2. I'm trying to think of something I haven't told anybody. 4-issue miniseries, fully written. Curse of the Green Book, Twisted in New Orleans.
I'm really
has
excited
some of my
about that.
favorites. Yeah. Mariana Pescosta has started illustrating it. Dude, it is. I wanted to go in and do a 4-issue tight story arc. Voodoo King, Voodoo Queen.
Right.
Just, it's really fun.
Right.
Hope Volume 2, I have outlined it. I'm going to be having discussions moving forward on that when I work on that a little bit more.
Drina's pointing out Volume 5 here.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I'm going to say Hope Volume 2 is going to be very different than Volume 1, but we set a really high bar with Hope Volume 1. Hope Volume 2, I think, is going to, I have to at least meet it, if not top it. I think it's going to top it.
Right.
You know,
right.
the cliffhanger thing to Hope Volume 1 like blew people's minds. Hope Volume 2 is going to be even crazier.
Do you have anything in pre-order right now?
Not yet, because again,
Okay.
I'm kind of
Then
waiting
yes.
until the fall.
Jason Ward, you're off the hook. Jason Ward is our #1 fan.
Yeah.
Whenever he hears about these things, and last night while we were on the air, he pre-ordered Nora Volume 2.
Okay, well, right on.
Yeah. So he listened to the entire run of this show, all episodes, in like 2 months. Like every day on the way to work and on the way back, like every day. He's a fucking trooper.
So Jay's heard then the evolution of Dirk Manning over the years.
He would have, yeah. Jay, give a comment there. But Jay's actually quite the artist himself, and now he's actually got some stuff coming out. So we're gonna get him on the show as we were talking about yesterday. But sorry to interrupt that.
No, that's cool, man.
I'm really excited about the whole New Orleans setting.
Oh, dude,
seeing the guys in that environment.
Oh, dude, it's fun.
Yeah.
And Drina Joe is editing Haunted Highons. Drina Joe is also going to be the full editor on Hope Volume 2. She went in and did the edits on the collection of the first volume, and she's going to be editor on Hope Volume 2. We will finally have a mother on the book about a mom.
Right.
But Volume 5, my return is going to be the Omnibus, Tales Mystery Omnibus, which is going to be volumes 1 through 4. And then Tales Mystery Volume 5, all dropping in October, probably on Kickstarter.
Cool.
And Tales Mystery Volume 5 is the first volume of Act 2 of the series. Austin McKinley is illustrating that right now. And the pitch on this one is, people that have read Mystery know that the end of Volume 4, the end of Act 1, when re-enters the world now, the world that series is very different, and it's reacclimating to this new world he finds himself in. And the setup on this one is basically Mr. E versus a real satanic heavy metal band. So I'm getting to kind of mix my love of music with Ree. Austin McKinley is a guy who I've worked with a lot over the years. This is the first long form project we've done together. He is killing it.
That's great.
I mean, I've been blessed to work with really good artists on Mr. Ree, and Mr. Ree really attracts and brings out some, I think, really high caliber work out of people.
Right.
And Austin is just, he's the guy for this book, man. I always knew that when I got to this volume, it was going to be one of two people.
Here Austin McKinley himself says, well, not right now, but earlier today, yes.
Yes, early. Yeah, Austin is just rocking it. And
right on. We have to get on. Why don't you bring Austin on the goddamn show sometime then?
Yeah,
Austin, come on the goddamn show. We'll talk to Austin. We'll get to, where's Austin out of?
Now, it's funny you mentioned that, and then I'm going to call you out on something. When I went in February to go see, and Austin doesn't even know this, when I went to go see my grandpa right before when C2E2 was happening in Florida, I literally just packed a backpack, bro. I went to the airport. I jumped on a plane and flew down there. I got to the airport. I got a rental car when I was there and then drove to my grandpa's. Driving back, I'm driving, and I'm not going to say where, but I see one of those big water towers with a sign on it.
Right.
And I'm like, God damn, I go, that's where Austin lives. I was like a half hour from you, Austin, and I didn't even know it. So Austin, I apologize. Obviously the circumstances were not great, but I didn't even know that I was like a half hour from Austin, who's one of my oldest friends in comics. But it was like, I was driving and like, I took a picture of it. I wanted to send it to him and then just didn't get to it, but I will send it to you tonight, Austin. But no, this is something I'm going to tell you, you were like, oh, we'll get Austin on the show. Austin's his own dude, man. Get a hold of him, get him on the show. Because one thing that I found what?
That's what I meant, basically.
I know, but it's funny because
Austin, I'll hit you up or send me here. You know what?
No, you guys would have a phenomenal. Austin is an artist, a filmmaker. I mean, he does everything. He's incredible. Yeah. But one of the things I learned about and never take time to reflect on is that perception of, not to get too heavy again, but that perception of power and that perception of dynamic of relationships. And so I've been very cautious about that now. And I've always been one to say, so-and-so's never my artist. They're an artist I'm working with,
Right.
But so I apologize.
Sorry, hold on.
I got hyper vigilant and I apologize.
That's all right.
But yeah, Austin is crushing it on Re5. So Re5 will be in October, right around Tubi next year. The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. Is going to be next year. I mean, like I said, I'm just using this time. I've really taken some time to kind of get myself together, handle my situation.
Right.
And now just come fall, game on, friends. It's going to be nonstop. It's going to be nonstop.
It's very, very exciting stuff, man. I'm very, very, very happy for it all to continue, and hopefully it all comes back, man. Because
I think it will.
Eventually, yeah.
It will. It takes time, and I'm grateful in a way that I've had to take this time to sit back and reset things. You even said, you've noticed a difference in me. I just feel better. And
good.
You're
very happy to hear it, my friend.
Yeah, with the quarantine and everything, you got to or with the pandemic, you have to take the time to look at the positive. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself during this time. I've learned a lot about my friends during this time, my personal, professional relationships. And I feel lighter. I feel better. I just feel like myself again, and I'm ready to go, man. And I've been very grateful that Source Point has had my back during this. Again, I'm not going to get into the dynamics of the professional side, but we've had a lot of talks about moving forward and what that's going to mean. And right now, I'm just gearing up to come fall, man. Come fall, I'm going to start moving forward again.
Leave it to Aaron Castle to join just as we're about to say goodbye.
Oh, Aaron, you got here just in time.
I think her joining might be a hint that I got some kids to go deal
I
with.
think that's the key. I think she jumped on the live stream to say, "Hey,
No,
boys."
I'm sure she jumped on to say hello, and I'm sure she misses you, as do I,
miss you,
brother.
Aaron.
As do I. Everybody get online and check out Dirk, because it's a party. She says hi, Dirk.
I see. I'm gonna heart that. I'm gonna give it a little hug emoji
Let's
right
give it.
there.
Oh, I'll give it a hug emoji too.
Well, you know what? Then I'm gonna give it a heart
emoji.
emoji.
I double your heart emoji and
Yeah.
praise you.
All that talk about reflection, and there you go.
Now listen, I'm gonna take a little bit of the thunder away from the Dirk Manning world, because Drina Joe,
Yes.
she's right here.
Editor extraordinaire,
there is
man.
something
What a
in
powerhouse.
pre-orders right now.
Yes, dude.
Of Drina Joe
Mhm.
and the world. I hope you're ready for Broken Gargoyles.
Oh my gosh.
Stan Yak, Bob Sally, edited by Drina Joe.
Yep.
I've had the pleasure to indulge myself in this comic book, and it's fucking wonderful.
I'm gonna go on record saying I've known Bob pre-Source Point, and I've known Bob a long time, and Bob and I even talked about Broken Gargoyles way back in the day. And when you have Bob on, you guys can talk about that story to his degree of comfort. But I have known Bob as a creator for a long time, and I think him working with Stan and with Drina Joe on Broken Gargoyles, Ogre obviously did really well for Bob, and Ogre's a good book. Ogre's a really good book.
Brilliant book. Sean motherfucking Daly.
I know you got your Canadian hook up there, but here's the thing. Broken Gargoyles is going to not only be a breakout book for Bob to take him to that next level, it's going to be a breakout book for Source Point.
Oh, it's a level up. I said
level
it
up.
right away.
It's a level up.
I was like, this is okay. This is a new player in the ball game. This is as good as any. And not saying everything else hasn't been great.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
But this is as good as anything. And I hope I'm not overblowing it. Maybe I always get nervous. I do that because I get real excitable.
No.
But it's as good as anything out there. And it's Bob has really matured as a writer over the years, and he's found this balance between his story, his dialogue, his he is a writer who has so learned to appreciate the art and lets the art tell its story, and he's gotten really good at knowing when to stick his piece in there, right? And it's just great, and I just absolutely love it. So I'm very, very excited. So wait, get in the pre-order. Jason Ward, I'm just gonna assume that you've pre-ordered.
Yeah, dude. Anybody, and here's the other thing too. And I'm gonna be the elder statesman guy here, because again, having almost 20 years in the game, I think it's really cool that several of the Source Point creators are now starting to embrace working with editors. And I think we're going to continue.
I think they all know best at this point. I think it's a Source Point. I think it's now that's Source Point. That's just
protocol. It's getting there, protocol. But but again, it's one of those things where when we all start, none of us wants one. But and again, I don't want to. I mean, I work. Drina Joe's working with me on Hope 2, working with me on Re 5, works with me on Haunted Hion, and there's I've worked with Leah Letterman. Phenomenal editor. I've worked with her for a long time as well. Leah's doing Cthulhu Jr. with me. But the power that comes with recognizing getting a professional editor on your book and how a good editor helps you tell the story the way you best want to tell it. Yeah. And it's part of that leveling up that guys like Bob is doing. And you're seeing the result. Broken Gargoyles. I got Van's copy right over there, man. Game-changing stuff.
Hey, those boxes. So there have been issues printed at this point.
Yeah,
I got those boxes back there that I was.
Dude, you gotta check them out, man. You might have some gold in there.
I wonder if I've got some Broken Gargoyles.
You might have some gold. I told Bob I want a copy of every variant. Even I'm such a fan of this book. I mean, And again,
Yeah, yeah.
that's no disrespect to many of the other great books that Short Sprint's coming out. I've done
Not
great
at
books
all.
with him
But
as well.
this is special. This
But
is something-
Broken Gargoyles, this is
Yeah.
the book that's going to just, I think this book's going to catch people off guard. You know,
I think there's some really brilliant stuff coming up soon. It is. I want to send shout outs to Julie Ahern.
Julie,
she's
hi, I
been
know.
in and on the party all night long, as has Jason Ward.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark Frankel, what's going on, brother?
Oh, you know what? To be fair, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that other thing yet, but
Then
keep
don't
your
talk
eyes on
about
what
it.
Julie and I might have in the cooker here. Well, I guess it's not a secret. We were going to launch a mystery game about a year.
Yeah,
or
we
so
knew
back.
about that. There's been plenty. We've talked about that.
Yeah,
And
and
what happened to that actually?
well, we pulled it back. We pulled it back because I had so many Kickstarters going at that point, you know, that we pulled back, and you know, like this global pandemic and stuff got in the way.
Right.
But you know, Julie's been doing amazing stuff over at Greenbrier, and news coming on that soon as well. I might just have an email in my box right now. Like I said, man, this fall, I've been sitting back. I've been purposely not engaging my readership in a financial fashion, but come fall and into next year,
Right on.
it's going to be time. I've just taken some time for me, but then, you know, in the fall, I'm getting ready to. I just feel better. I'm getting ready to
Well,
get back to
I'm
work.
very, very proud to have been here to help take your muzzle off and
Yeah.
fly.
You know,
peacock fly.
Yeah.
And it's great to have you here. It always is, brother. You know, you're welcome back anytime. And I appreciate the honesty, and you know, and I appreciate you know, the way you've gone about it all. And I know you're going to come out of this better on the other side, man.
I'd like to think I have, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously there's always going to be, we always just got to reflect, we always got to evaluate, and at the end of the day, the one consistent is I want to continue to make the focus my work.
Right.
And that is going to be something moving forward again, is I want to keep the focus on my work again, and not get caught up in a lot of just the crazy.
You got a
antics,
life
the
to live,
kayfabe.
man. You got a
What?
life to live. You get on with living it, right?
Well, you know, just, you know,
Stuff to
again,
do, more stuff to do, right?
there's stuff to do, there's work to do, and just, you know,
Yeah. No one cares. Work harder, right?
I say it all the time. But that's exactly right. Just time to get back to work. So thank you. This has been real good talking to you too, man.
It's always great,
I've missed seeing you. I hope you're back in the States, and or again, this was the year I was supposed to come to Canada.
I know, right?
You know?
Fuck. That's what you did. You probably orchestrated this whole goddamn thing so you could get the border closed, didn't you? All right, we got to wrap it up. I got things to do on this beautiful Friday night. Dirk, I love you.
Man.
Thank you so much. And please do not disappoint us. And I expect that you will not be the only Source Point presser to not dance us out tonight. Because, ladies and
Elegant
gentlemen,
weapon,
that's all we're going to have
but a
this
more
week on an elegant weapon.
civilized age.
Tacaris. Where's my cursor?
I'll see you guys.